Hello students. In the previous session, we all are learned about what is algorithm and the characteristics of an algorithm, what is algorithmic strategy and how to write an algorithm and the analysis of algorithms. Finally, the complexity of an algorithm. Okay. In this session, we are going to learn about efficiency of an algorithm. Okay. Computer resources are limited that should be utilized efficiently. The efficiency of an algorithm is defined as the number of computational resources used by the algorithm. Okay, the efficiency of an algorithm is defined as the number of computational resources. Computational resources is nothing but we are learned about the space and time complexity in the previous session. Okay, the space and time complexity is also a one kind of resource. Okay, an algorithm must be analyzed to determine its resource usage. The efficiency of an algorithm can be measured based on the usage of different resources. Okay. For maximum efficiency of algorithm, we wish to minimize resource usage. The important resources such as time and space complexity cannot be compared directly. So, time and space complexity could be considered for an algorithmic efficiency. Okay. Method for determining efficiency. The efficiency of an algorithm depends on how efficiently it uses time and memory space. Okay, the efficiency of an algorithm depend what? The usage of time and memory space. Okay. The time efficiency of an algorithm is measured by different factors. Okay. The first factor is speed of the machine. The second factor is compiler and other system software tools. Okay, it also depends on the system software tool. We have latest version means the system should be little bit faster. Okay. The third one is operating system. Operating system is very important to develop a algorithm. The fourth one is programming language used. Okay, which kind of programming language we can use it should be very important. The final one is volume of data required. Okay, we can use how high amount of data means the system should be little bit slower. So the value of data is required. Okay. The next topic is space-time trade-off. Okay. The space-time trade-off is also called time-memory trade-off. Okay. Time-memory trade-off is a way of solving the less time by using more storage space or by solving a given algorithm in very little space by spending more time. Okay, it is very important. It can be used a very little space for solving a algorithm. Okay, for solving a given problem by using an algorithm. Okay. To solve a given programming problem, many different algorithms may be used. Okay, if we want to solve one problem means we can use more than one algorithms to accomplish a particular task. Okay, some of these algorithms may be extremely time efficient and others extremely space efficient. Okay, time or space trade-off refers to a situation where you can reduce the use of memory at the cost of slower program execution or reduce the running time at the cost of increased memory usage. Okay, next we can move to the next topic as asymptotic notation. It is very important question. Okay, this is a 3-mark question. Okay, what is meant by asymptotic notations? Okay, asymptotic notations. Asymptotic notations are languages that uses meaningful statements about time and space complexity. Okay, these notations are also depends on the time and space complexity. Okay, it has 3 notations, that is big O, big omega, okay, big O, big omega. The third one is big theta. Okay, big theta. Okay, what is meant by big O? Big O is often used to describe the worst case of an algorithm. Okay, worst case is nothing but an upper bound. Okay, if we have a particular algorithm means the starting point, the starting point is the upper bound. Okay, and the stop point, okay, the final point, the stop point is the lower bound. Okay, worst case is nothing but a upper bound. Okay, an upper bound. Okay, the next one is big omega. Big omega is the reverse big O. Okay, if by O is used to describe the upper bound, that is worst case. I already told you that's worst case of a asymptotic notation. Big omega is used to describe the lower bound. Okay, that is best case, worst case, best case, and finally the average case. Okay, big theta has the average case. Can you understand the concept now? Okay, the third one is big theta. Okay, when an algorithm has a complexity with lower bound equal to upper bound, say that an algorithm has a complexity O. Okay, n log n, and big omega means n log n. It actually has the complexity big theta n log n, which means the running time of that algorithm always falls in n log n in the best case and worst case. Okay, it should not be felt on the average case. These are the 3 asymptotic notations. Okay, these 3 are very important. Okay, the next topic is best, worst and average case efficiency. Okay, let me explain you. Let us assume a list of n number of values stored in an array. Okay, let us assume we have one number and it should be stored in an array. Okay, let me assume that. Okay, suppose if we want to search a particular element in this list. Okay, if we want to search a particular element in this list, the algorithm that search the key element in the list among n elements by comparing the key element with each element in the list sequentially. Okay, if we want one element means we can use the search the search algorithm, if we use the search concept to finding an algorithm by using the comparing the key element with each element in the list sequentially. Okay, one by one the list should be checked for finding a particular number. Okay, the first one is best case. The best case would be if the first element in the list matches with the key element. Okay, if we want one element means it should be get in the first step. Okay, it should be represented as O1. Okay, because only one comparison is enough. Okay, can you understand? The second one is similarly, the worst case in this scenario would be if the complete list is searched and the element is found only at the end of the list or is not found in the list. Okay, if we want one element means that particular element is happened at the end of the list, or if the particular element is not in the list means it should be represented as O of n, because n comparisons required to complete the search, because still the particular element should not be get. Okay, this is the concept of worst case. Okay, the final one is average case. The average case efficiency of an algorithm can be obtained by finding the average number of comparisons as given below. Minimum number of comparisons is equal to 1. Okay, minimum number of comparisons, that is best case means we have only one comparison, because the particular element should be finded at the top of the list. Okay, the first element of the list. Okay, the second one is maximum number of comparisons is equal to n. Okay, this is the worst case of an algorithm. Okay, worst case efficiency. Okay, the next one is if the element not found, then minimum number of comparison is equal to n. I already told you, if the particular element is not get. Okay, if the particular element is found at the end of the list, or it should not be finded, still the comparison, the list should be completely checked. Okay, after the list should be completely checked means the number of comparison is equal to n. Therefore, average number of comparisons is equal to n plus 1 divided by 2. Okay, we can use this formula to find the average number of comparison. Okay, which one is best? Okay, hence the average case efficiency will be expressed as O of n. I already told you the best case is expressed as O of 1 and the worst case is expressed as O of n, and also the average case is the average case efficiency will be expressed as O of n. Okay. Okay. Now the efficiency of an algorithm topic is over. We just move on to the next topic as algorithm for searching techniques. Okay, it should have more subtopics. Okay, more than 2, that is okay, only 2 subtopics, linear search and binary search. Today we see about only linear search. Okay, later on we will discuss about binary search. Okay, in next class. Okay, let me explain you what is linear search. Okay, first of all, the linear search is what? Where we can use this search. Okay, if we have a list means it should not be ordered. Okay, either it may be ascending order or descending order. Okay, it should not have any order. Okay, the linear search should be applicable. Okay, it should have some order, means the list should have ascending order or descending order, means the binary search should be applicable. Okay, can you understand the concept? If the list has no order, okay, for example 5, 10, 3, 2, okay, I'll give 4 elements, 5, 10, 3, 2, means the linear search should be applicable. Or else 10, 20, 21, 22 means the binary search should be applicable. Or 23, 22, 20 or 19 means also the binary search is applicable. Okay, if the list has ascending or descending order, means binary search should be applicable. If the list has no order, means linear search should be applicable. Okay, this is the concept of linear search. Okay, what is this? Linear search, also called sequential search, because if we want one element, means the element should be checked one after another. Okay, is a sequential method for finding a particular value in a list. Okay, this method checks the search element with each element in sequence until the desired element is found. Okay, the user wanted element is found, means the linear search is stopped. Okay, but the user wanted element is not found still at the end of the list, means this not be applicable, or the list is exhausted. In this searching algorithm, list need not be ordered. Okay, this is the very important point. List need not be any order. It should not has any ascending order or descending order. Okay, okay, here the pseudocode. Okay, let me explain this later. First of all, we are seeing the example, then only you can understand. Okay, in the linear search, it should have some values 10, 12, 20, 25, 30. Okay, in the linear search, it should be follow the array storage, like the first element should be stored as an value, as an index value as 0. Okay, the first value is 0. Okay, the 12 should be, the value of 12 should be stored on the index as 1. So similarly 20 as 2, 25 as 3, 30 as 4. Okay, if we want the element as 30 means, okay, if we want the element as 30 means the value of the index should be stored, that is 4. In our book, the value of 25 should be the wanted element, okay, as we need. Okay, the value of index should be stored as 3. This is the concept. Okay, if we want the element means, element means after the finding of the element, the values, it is not be displayed. Okay, the value cannot be displayed. The index value of the particular value is only the output of the particular list. Okay, okay, we see another one example. Okay, see this, the input of value, that is arrays. Okay, these square bracket should be represented as array. Okay, we have the value as 5, 34, 65, 12, 77, 35. Okay, if we want the value as 12 means the output is 3, because the 5 is 0, Okay, the value of 5 having the index value as 0, the value of 34 having the index value as 1, the value of 65 having the index value as 2, the value of 12 having the index value as 3. So the output is 3. Here the target value is 77. Okay, so the value of 77 having the index value as 4. Okay, index value as 4. So we can get the output as 4. Example 2. Okay, in this example the values are 101, 392, 1, 54, 32, 22, 90, 93. Here we don't want to need this value into ascending order or descending order, because the value is don't have any list, or it should be have some list, means the linear search should be applicable. Okay, okay, here 100 as 0, 392 as 1, 1 as 2, 54 as 3, 32 as 4, 22 as 5, 90 as 6, 93 as 7. Okay, here the wanted element is 200. So can you see the list? Can you see the list? We don't have the value as 200, so the output is not found. This is the concept of linear search. Now we can see the pseudocode of this linear search, then only you can understand. Okay, the first step, okay, traverse the array using for loop. Okay, traverse is nothing but the storage. Okay, we can allocate the value, no? So previously we can discuss about the example as 10, the value is stored on the index as 0. So this is the concept of traverse. Okay, okay, first of all traverse the array using the for loop. Okay, the second step is, in every iteration compare the target search key value with the current value of a list. Okay, the second step is search the value. Okay, the third step is, in the second step, if the value match, display the current index and value of the array. If the value do not match, move on to the next array element. Okay, if no match is found, display the search element not found. Okay, I already told you. Okay, this is the example. To search the number 25 in the array given below, linear search will go step by step in a sequential order starting from the first element in the given array. If the search element is found, that index is returned, otherwise. Okay, if the search element is found, the index is returned, otherwise the search is continued till the last index of the array. Okay, in this example number 25 is found at index number 3. Okay, then only we can receive the value of index as 3. Okay, can you understand the example? Thank you students for watching this video.